traditional uses of graphite requires quite coarse grain graphite. That's also what attracts the highest prices. And we have a fair amount of that in our deposit. But we're also, with the processing for anode material, we're actually grinding it down to a certain size.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Stefan Bernstein. He is the CEO of GreenRock Strategic Minerals. And Stefan, it's good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm very good, thanks.
Good to have you along. Excited to learn a bit more about the company. I know you had some recent news out. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, maybe just give everyone a little background on the company.
Yes, okay. So we are a UK-listed company, and we are developing the Amitsoq deposit in Greenland towards production. Amitsoq is a large graphite deposit with world-class grades. And not only are we setting to produce graphite concentrate from that mine, we are also developing the capacity to process the graphite into active anode material, which is a key raw material for the energy transition.
Yeah. What type of graphite are you doing as far as the flake is concerned? I know that's a significant part of your story as well.
That's right. I mean, traditional uses of graphite requires quite coarse grain graphite. That's also what attracts the highest prices. And we have a fair amount of that in our deposit. But we're also, with the processing for anode material, we're actually grinding it down to a certain size. So it's not so dependent on the coarsest fractions, but we can sell, some parts for the more traditional users, but maintain maybe 80–90% for producing active anode material.
Okay. Now you mentioned earlier you're moving to establish a Norwegian subsidiary for battery grade graphite production. Tell me a little bit about that sort of step for the company.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really important. The processing into active anode material is a fairly technical, challenging process. You need to shape individual graphite grains and then also purify to a very high purity. And that requires a lot of chemicals. It requires a lot of energy. So it's not really well suited for setting up that kind of processing in Greenland. But in southern Norway, there's a long tradition for mineral processing industry. They have some of the lowest priced energy available worldwide, hydropower generators, so very low CO2 emissions. So that's why we have located or are going to locate our plant there. And also, Norway has a national battery strategy in place with certain instruments to support these industries.
Yeah, and so obviously, what's the timeline around all of that?
Right. So building the mine. So we have a couple of years in front of us now with work. We already have delineated a very substantial resource there, 23 million tons with more than 20% graphite, world-class grades, as I said. So a couple of years until we have conducted a definitive feasibility study and arrive at a final investment decision. And then 2 years of construction, so we can be in production by late 28, early 29. Now, the downstream business, so to speak, where we will develop the anode processing plant, takes about a similar 4 years, 2 years of further work setting up pilot processing plant, qualify the material for the battery industries, and then a couple of years of construction. So we'll be in production there also when we can ship out the first concentrates from Greenland.
Okay. And lastly, just talk about next year. Obviously, you've got some timelines in the next 2 to 4 years. Tell me what the big focus will be in 2025.
Right. So first of all, it's very important that we secure some kind of agreements with the offtake industry. To that end, we already signed an MOU with Morrow Batteries, which is a battery company that's setting up production in southern Norway. And we're talking to several automakers and also other players in the battery industry about MOUs or even offtake agreements. So that's important to work further on that. Then we have applied. Okay, so another important point is, of course, secure financing for the work going forward. To that end, we are looking towards securing a financial partner or a technical partner to provide some of the capital, but we're also looking to tap into like public financing our project. I mentioned the Norwegian battery strategy that has certain instruments in place. We also now have applied to the EU to become a strategic project under the Critical Raw Materials Act, which potentially also will provide some funding available. And then lastly, I'll just say also that we are now a mineral security partnership project. And that organization is working also to establish financing of strategic projects such as ours. So securing financing and offtake agreements.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy one, that's for sure. We know that. Stefan, thank you so much. I know it's very important work and the need is great. So appreciate your time today to fill us in on what's going on. We look forward to following your story. All right.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Good stuff. There's Stefan Bernstein, the CEO of Green Rock Strategic Minerals.